In this section, we'll be looking at the various ways of changing a project's tempo, how to make a project's tempo fit the tempo of an existing clip, how we make a clip's tempo adjust to the project's tempo, and how to stretch a clip to fit a specific length. We'll start by seeing how we set a project's tempo and make tempo changes throughout its length. Every project has a tempo, and we saw earlier how we use the tempo section of the transport module to change the project's tempo or insert a tempo change at the now time. We can also insert them by using Project Insert Tempo Change and Project Insert Series of Tempos. Insert Tempo Change brings up a dialog box, and a tempo can be set by entering a figure or tapping a tempo on the Tap Tempo button. We can choose to change the most recent tempo or insert a new one. If it's a new tempo, we can specify where it's inserted. Insert Series of Tempos allows us to insert a series of tempos over a time range, specifying a starting tempo and an ending tempo, as well as a start time and a through time. This is the range of project time that we want the changes to take place over. If I play this project back, you'll hear them changes as it speeds up over time. Till it settles down at 140 beats per minute. So let's open the tempo view that we looked at briefly earlier and have a look at those tempos. Here's a whistle stop tour of the tempo view. Along the top we have the time ruler, which functions in the same way here as other views. To the left is the tempo scale pan, where you can see the actual tempo. Tempo increases the higher up the pane we go. In the main area we see the actual tempo represented as a line, and here we can use the draw tools to draw tempo changes, the resolution of which will follow the snap settings. For example, if I set the snap settings to a quarter, then draw tempo changes, the resolution follows the snap settings and the tempo is drawn at every quarter beat. The Smart tool can be used to draw, as you've seen, but any of the tools can be used, and one of the more helpful may be the Straight Line tool. This is great for drawing gradual tempo increases or decreases. Select it from the toolbar or HUD. It can then be used to draw straight line changes. With this many tempos, we may need to delete some, and the tempo view is an ideal place to delete multiple tempos at once. We can use any of the Windows standard select methods, either by shift clicking to select a range or control clicking to select non-adjacent tempos. Either way, pressing the delete key will delete all those selected. Tempo properties can be opened by double clicking on the tempo or using the property icons in the toolbar. Pressing Ctrl All will select all of the tempos. We can then delete all of them except the very first tempo. Now we'll look at how we go about manipulating the tempos to suit our needs. I spoke earlier about the tempo map, and in the recording section we saw the material can be recorded to a metronome or other form of timekeeping, in which case it's already fairly well aligned with the tempo map, subject of course to performance variations. However, there may be times when you have recorded material, either audio or MIDI, that was improvised at the time of recording and varies tempo throughout, but you'll still need to align that material to a tempo map perhaps. We need to set the project tempo to the clip, and there are several ways to do this, so let's look at them. The first method is to use the process fit improvisation command. There's a little setup work to do before using this though. The first thing we need to do is create a MIDI clip that has an event at each beat, starting at measure 1, beat 1. It's important that each beat is marked, and it can be done by using a note or other MIDI event such as a pedal event. It also needs to be a single clip, but if necessary, multiple clips can be bounced down to one clip. Think of it as tapping the beat in time to the original recording. The more accurate the reference track, the better the results will be. If the original clip is a MIDI clip, it may be quicker to copy the track and then filter out and delete everything except the notes on the beats. If it's an audio track, as it is here, need to create a MIDI track and then tap the beat in either with a MIDI note or other event such as a pedal controller, using a keyboard or other MIDI device. Failing that, you'll need to do it manually in the PRV. I have a MIDI track here. I'm going to arm it to record, play back the project, and tap a key on my keyboard in time to the beat. Once we have a single clip with a note or other MIDI event at each beat, we simply need to select the reference clip and then select Process, Fit Improvisation from the menu. The tempo has now been changed to fit the clip. Once finished, mute, hide or delete the reference track. Another method is to use set measure at now command. This probably works better with MIDI clips. To do that, turn off the snap and then position the now time at a measure or beat within the clip. That won't necessarily align with the current time ruler though. I'm going to open the PRV to make it easier. My first beat is already set correctly. That's my second beat. I now select Project, Set Measure Beat at Now, or Shift M. A dialog will appear and Sonar will have taken an educated guess at which measure and beat it should be. If it's correct, click on OK. If it isn't, change it to what it should be and then click OK. Move the now timer marker to the next beat you want to set and repeat. The more beats you do, the more accurate the resolution will be. Repeat this process for the whole length of the clip. Once that's complete, we can switch to the tempo view, which you remember is Alt-Shift+5. And for each set at measure beat command that we entered, you'll see a tempo has been inserted. The project will now follow this tempo map. We can also use Audiosnap. Now we'll be looking at Audiosnap in its own video, but as this video is about extracting a tempo map, and Audiosnap is very good at that, we'll cover that technique here. Note that on material not recorded to a metronome, you'll need to do some preparation work first, such as editing the clip map. I'll cover that in the Audiosnap video. The method shown here assumes that the clip's beat mapping is OK. To activate Audiosnap, we select the clip we want to get the tempo from, and then set the edit filter to audio transients. Once the transients have been drawn, click on the clip and the Audiosnap palette should open. If it doesn't, press A. To extract the tempo to the project, we need to click on the Set Project from Clip option, but we need to check that the resolution is set how we want it. I'll go over this in more detail in the Audiosnap section, but that can be set at beats, measure or clip. The setting will affect how often tempo changes are inserted to the project. Once you've set the resolution, simply click on the Set Project from Clip button. The tempo has been extracted and the project will now follow the clip and change accordingly. That's a very simplistic use for Audiosnap, and we'll be covering that in much more detail on some real-world material later. Now let's look at changing the clip to fit the project. The simplest method of changing a clip to fit project tempo is to convert it to a groove clip. The clip will then follow the project tempo map. Simply trim off the ends, select the clip, and press Ctrl L. It warns me that hidden data is about to be discarded. Is that okay? That's the piece I trimmed off the front. That's fine. This doesn't necessarily mean that the beats and measures of the clips will line up with the project tempo grid though, especially if the clip was recorded without a metronome. It simply means that the clip will speed up or slow down by however many beats per minute are required to go from the clip's tempo to the project's tempo. If the timing was off to begin with, as it was with this clip, it will still be off when its tempo changes. We can overcome that by editing the clip map, but we'll cover that in the Audiosnap video. Clips can also be stretched or shrunk to fit a specific time by slip stretching them, which effectively changes their tempo. This is done using the audio stretching capabilities of the Smart tool. This does not work on groove clips though. They need to be bounced or have looping disabled first, as we saw in the groove clip section. To stretch or shrink a clip, hold down the Control key, then move the cursor to one end of the clip. At this point, the end of the clip will be yellow, then click and drag in the required direction to either stretch or shrink the clip. The clip's tempo will change to fit the length required, and note that this will not align beats with the tempo grid, just fit a clip into a specific time range. The amount of stretching or shrinking from the original is displayed as a percentage figure in the top right of the clip header area. Once happy with how the clip fits the time, bouncing to clip may produce better sounding results. One more method of setting a clip to a specific length, which works better on MIDI than it does audio, is to select the clip and then use the process length command. Here you can set what to change, whether it's the start times or the durations, adjust the amount that you want it to change by, If it's audio, you need to click the Stretch Audio checkbox, or nothing will change. You can also select the algorithm type used for the bounce. Once you've set your parameters, click on OK. That's then bounced down. Results on audio will vary. We'll be looking at Audiosnap later. That gives us much greater control over adjusting audio.